Back when I was a boy, if you wanted to listen to music, you had to listen to them on CDs. And by God, we liked it that way. But if you're like me, you probably have a bunch of CDs, especially if you've tried burning them and it doesn't always work out, or maybe you've got some old data, or remember when AOL used to send out all those CDs? Yeah, I remember that too, guys. Well, anyways, I have decided I'm going to do something about that and figure out a way to recycle those CDs. So one of the things I've come up with is this funky little light switch plate, and it's really simple to make and perfect for these round type of dimmer switches, because when you put a regular switch plate on them, you know, those are rectangular, and so I think round works out nicer. Here's a closer look of what I've done here, and all this is, when you take the CD out, is really, it's just basically a coaster. It's got a recessed piece for the CD to fit into. Now, this is a woodworking project, but if you're not a woodworker and are interested in doing something with a CD, there's no reason why you can't make a light switch plate using, well, just the CD, or even just cut a round piece of wood and you can put it on there. But use your creativity, come up with something cool to do with a CD. To start out this project, get yourself a chunk of wood. I'm using a piece of redwood. I live in Northern California. I have to use redwood once in a while. So I've planed mine down to 3/8 of an inch thick, but there's no reason why you can't do that in any other thicknesses. And take your CD and just make sure that it's going to fit on there somewhere. The whole trick to this job is going to be making a new base plate for your router. First thing you want to do is remove the base plate from your router. To make a new base plate, I'm going to use a piece of hardboard, and one side of a hardboard is smooth and the other side is rough. And I need to cut this just roughly out. It doesn't really matter what the size of it is, because the radius of a CD is 2 3/8 of an inch. So as long as I've got double that, I can make a circle. With my router base plate removed, I'm going to use it as a template to make some marks where all of the mounting holes go. Then you want to mark where your bit is going to go. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch straight bit on my router, so I'm just going to drill a hole that's big enough to accommodate that. I almost forgot, I got to countersink these holes. Now I'm just screwing in the new base plate into my router. Okay, now I've mounted my new base plate onto my router, and I've installed a 1/4 inch bit, straight bit. And so now I'm just going to take the CD and try to center it as best as I can around the bit, and just make a mark somewhere around here. It doesn't really matter where that is. That'll give me an indication of where my guide pin will go. Now I'm just drilling a 1/16 inch hole into that line. I'm just going to screw this board down to my workbench. I found the midpoint between my board, and I'm just going to drive a brad partially into it. And I'm going to cut off the head. Okay, now comes the tricky part. You want to set your straight bit to about half the width of your board. And then you want to take that pin and you want to line it up with that hole that you made in your router plate. And that part gets a little bit tricky. There we go. What you do is, once you've got that dropped down into that pin, you're going to want to slowly drop your router into your workpiece when it's running and spin it around. Well, let's see how it goes. Okay, so if I pull that up, there's the start of my inner circle. Well, the hard part is over. Now I just need to remove this pin and route out the center part by hand. go. That's carving out all of the center part. So you get basically a coaster here in which the CD will fit like so. I'm going to round over this outside edge with a 1/4 inch roundover bit mounted in my router table. Well, at this point I've got it all sanded down really smooth, and it just occurred to me that there's a lot of different things you could probably do with this. You could put a picture in there or a mirror or whatever, but I'm sticking with my light switch and CD. Well, naturally you're going to want to put some holes into your faceplate so you can mount it on the wall, and I've just taken a faceplate I had out in the shop. I'm going to use it as a template and just measure it up about how I think it should go and make sure my grain is going the same direction, and drill a couple of holes. And of course into the CD also. I'm applying a Danish oil finish to my faceplate, and you can put whatever you want on it, polyurethane, or maybe even want to paint it. You're going to want to drill that center hole bigger for the switch to come through, and in my case I'm just using a dimmer switch, a round dimmer switch, and I only need a 1/4 inch shaft. And the CD, of course, has its own hole already made, which is perfect for any size switch, so it'll fit in just like that. Once again, here's the finished piece, and the CD is not glued to the base plate, just in case I ever need to replace it for whatever reason, and it's just held in with those screws. Thanks for watching, guys, and if anybody has another idea of what to do with those old CDs, post it in the comments section or email me and let me know, and maybe we can come up with some more uses for those things, alright? Thanks for watching, bye.